Earhart argued that individuals needed to confront and dismantle those stories lives. This philosophy combined with his personal reinvention.
Land reform is not philosophical in any nature. Landmark is not philosophical at all. So to say that they're combining sociology or religion or psychology or philosophy or anything like that is wholly inaccurate. It's ontology, the study of being, and they deal with that in the domain of being.
Invention laid the foundation for EST. Now, when he launched the first
Werner took full responsibility with his I don't know if it's ex-wife probably, and his children, and he cleaned up any mess that he made with them and accepted full and total responsibility whatsoever with no blame at all. So to bring up something that happened in his past that he already atoned for and repented for, and not to say that this is religious at all. I'm not saying that he did that. I'm just saying that he took full responsibility. A lot of people might relate those two together, but yeah, like his ex and his kids love him so much, and there is nothing in between them at all. So, yeah, if you want to keep gossiping and talking about what someone did in their past life that has since been taken care of and renewed, if you talk to his family, just seems, I don't know. I'm just asking for you to forgive him and consider that he and his family are all good and love each other so much. And yeah, that's all he wants for anybody.
EST seminar in San Francisco in October of 1970.
Yeah, and comparing it, Nexium is a copy. Like that guy went to jail for 120 years and basically copied ripped off what Warner was doing. So, of course it's gonna get watered down and people are gonna whatever.
It was an immediate
He was held accountable.
Success. The seminars promised participants a life-changing experience.
So he was EST or her seminar training, and then Nexium did ESP. So to compare the two is just ridiculous. Nexium ripped off this guy. That's it.
Challenging them to confront their deepest fears and limiting beliefs. Earhart's ability to connect with people and inspire them to embrace this radical change made him a fantastic leader and speaker, and EST just blew up into a cultural phenomenon. EST seminars promised
Yeah, I don't see one wrong thing with transformation, responsibility, inspiration. It all seems like super positive things to me, unless you read it in a concerned tone and there must be something wrong with this organization tone.
That they discover a new way of being, of existing.
And my context for this whole video is to expose this company.
If they confronted those deepest fears. The seminars were also very intense, and it is my belief that self-help gurus or people on a self-help path.
It's not self-help whatsoever. People don't need help. This land reform is purely empowerment. There's no harm involved whatsoever.
It starts to seem anyways, like more suffering will lead to more enlightenment.
More suffering will lead to more enlightenment. The literal definition of enlightenment is the end of suffering.
So a lot of times these weekend workshops and events will include some kind of intense form of physical activity or kind of
yeah, it sounds like you're comparing it to other things. There is no comparison whatsoever. And no, there's no physical element to the forum. It's just a bunch of conversations.
Like you hear about Tony Robbins and him having people walk on coals, and it's difficult to do. And
yeah. Oh, by the way, Tony Robbins and Alan Watts both worked with Warner. And Warner got rid of working with Scientology because he didn't like what they were doing and called L. Ron Hubbard out and said, I'm no longer. L. Ron Hubbard's like, oh, you're a 2. He's like, no, I'm a 5. Figured it out on my own. Alan Watts and Warner were very great friends and did a lot of work together. And Tony Robbins worked for Warner. Tony Robbins literally learned almost everything he knows from Warner.
And it's scary to do, but when you're able to actually do it, of course you feel empowered and excited and you can conquer the world. But that's a feeling you can also achieve by actually waking up early and going to work out because you're fighting past the limitations that you've made up for yourself.
That's not to say don't do Tony Robbins or listen to Alan Watts for sure. I would do the forum first and then go do Tony Robbins afterwards. They're very, very different. But I don't know. I haven't done Tony. I've read a bunch of his books. It seems like Tony's is, I don't know. I just feel like, not to say that there isn't long-lasting difference in that. It just seems a lot of motivation and come back and take more courses versus the forum's inspiration, which is no motive. There's nothing pushing, and it comes from within you. And I don't know. I just maybe walking on coals is something I want to do, but I don't want to do that and then make a decision about the forum. I don't know. It just seems like I would want to get the ideas of the forum, be fully free thinking on my own. And then if I want to, then I can do Tony Robbins if I wanted.
Whereas if you're walking on coals, there are actually dangers. You could get a burn on your foot or fall and hurt yourself. So it's this almost false sense of feeling like you can do anything and you're invincible, but you're not.
Again, you're going to not do the forum and then call it a false sense. You No offense, I love you. I'm sure you're great. You don't know what you're. It's not false sense of anything. If you're going to compare it to Tony Robbins, and I don't know. Maybe you could call Tony Robbins a false sense. I don't know. I can't claim to any of that. All I'm saying is that the forum is nothing false, and that's not true. That I'm saying that it's nothing false. It is true and false are in the sea of opinions, and what you're looking for is reality.
Not able to replicate that feeling in your day-to-day real life. So oftentimes participants just want to keep going to workshops and pumping more money.
No, I mean, as long as you do the forum in the advanced course, ideally, I mean, you don't even take notes in the forum, so you don't need to continue to redo it. It's you have a conversation, you're interacting with people, so that conversation sticks longer versus you just reading in a book and then it like disappearing. And then you're taking an action based on like an invitation for an assignment to call somebody that you thought about while you were listening to these conversations. Like it's not me that thought about your friend or family member, it's you thought about it. So if you thought about it while hearing these conversations, why not share with that person what you're hearing in this conversation? And you don't have to invite them if you don't want to, but the fact is like why would you have this breakthrough and happiness in your life and being able to heal old relationships and then not share that with a friend? It's like, oh, I'm happy now, but like I'm gonna hide it. Like what like why would you consider that?
Into these self-help gurus because there aren't like tangible tools or steps that you can take on.
Yeah, again, Warner is neither self-help nor a guru. He is empowerment. He's gone from the organization altogether, and it runs amazingly on its own without him. And yeah, he's not a guru. He's literally sharing the same exact thing that he got with other people, and then you empower yourself
On a day-to-day basis that give you that same high, that same feeling, that same hit of dopamine. So then you start going home and you start feeling lost again. And
yeah, if you utilize the tools that the forum gives you, then you can create your own dopamine with all sorts of things. Go out there and talk to people, expand outside your comfort zone, whatever, make a video, whatever it is. Like you are now at least a free thinker. Not to say that anyone that hasn't done the forum isn't a free thinker. I would just challenge what you've heard and read throughout your life when you were 6 or 12 or 18 or whatever, and see what is opinion based and what is reality based
in your life because you're not able to get this high that you had at the workshop. And that's honestly,
yeah, again, I get that high every time I'm super inspired by who my wife is or who my kid is or what my life is, empowering in the world or what difference I'm making. I mean, it's
the theory that I have.
And I haven't done any courses in a long time or paid them anything in a long time.
I don't know of any real clinical proof behind that assumption, but
at least with the forum, 93% show satisfied, profound and lasting difference on the way they live their life a year afterwards. So there you go.
I can surmise based off of the amount of spiritual retreats and guru.
Yeah, what do you call it? Land Reform is not spiritual or theological at all. Some of the questions that you might have about spirituality or theology are answered in the forum, but that's not them giving you the answer. It's them giving you a question, and then you get an insight, and then you come up with your own answers.
Guru meetups and the probably over 100 videos that I've made in my time as a YouTube content creator. Whenever I hear about a workshop or an intensive that's spiritually based like this, I'm like, it's just gonna be the person.
Yeah, at least with the forum, it's not spiritually based. So
pumping you up so that the next time they try to sell you.
No, that would be motivation, is pumping someone up. Inspiration comes within your heart, within your soul, within yourself.
You're like ready to get that high again and give them more of your money. To me, it feels very exploited.
I mean, it's like, isn't it less expensive than Tony Robbins? It's like the cheapest thing and the most effective thing out there.
That's not to say that
if you're looking for enlightenment or happiness or freedom or peace of mind or whatever,
there aren't things that can be good about certain types of workshops, but I would attend ones that are actually.
No, it's not like there's something good about it and something bad about it. It's at first you'll be dismayed because you're going to see some stuff, you discover some stuff about yourself that you don't love about yourself and you would like to alter. Then you will find out something profound about yourself, and then, something great about yourself, and then something truly profound.
Providing you with tangible, actionable tools. And
yeah, these are 13 tangible, actionable tools. And you utilize the tools within the weekend so that they stick and you don't need to take notes or remember anything or anything like that. It's nice to remind yourself of the distinctions if you're dealing with something that's challenging for you, but it's whatever. You don't need
things to do every day to help you achieve that sense of belonging and empowerment in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, they literally show you that somewhere around 12 years old, we make a decision that we don't belong with whatever friend group or whatever like that. I totally remember moving from a full quote unquote popular kids table and going to an empty non-popular kids table. I'm quoting if you can't see that. Um yeah, you belong wherever you want to belong, but if you're made up a decision that I don't belong there, and then your 12-year-old self told yourself that, and at 25 you're still saying I don't belong in that crew, I belong in this crew, or like my friend who thinks like, oh, we were the AV nerds. I'm like, what, you really think that you were an AV nerd? He's like, yeah, like the radio station's so popular now that social media's taken over or whatever. I'm like, bro, like you made up that thought that you were an AV nerd. Like that doesn't exist in reality. Um,
Because these seminars, these EST seminars, they were
I understand how you could feel like you're in that, but do you get that that could stop you in the future of you like applying for a job and feeling like you don't belong because you're an AV nerd? It's
very,
like,
very structured and they were very, very intense. So participants in these EST seminars would sit for
yeah, don't you want structure? And yeah, it's not meant to be a pleasant conversation. You could put the phrase intense onto it, but that's really just made up. Just be in the conversation, take the coaching, don't fight it. You could be skeptical. Just ask you to be open minded.
hours in packed
I have nothing to do with Landmark. I don't represent them. I don't make any money off of them. I don't even take any of their courses. I don't even pay them any money. I don't do anything with them whatsoever.
rooms and were not allowed to leave except during scheduled
And I'm not defending them.
breaks. Facilitators were known to be very confrontational and direct and would sometimes break participants
Yeah, it really worked for a lot of people in the 70s. And now things are a lot more, I don't know, less screaming and more just making the impact. Like they used to like scream and be like, it's not working for you. Or just as a random example. But um I don't know. I don't get this feeling of this screaming at all anymore.
down emotionally
That might have been so in the 70s, and like why are we talking about stuff from the 70s when it's like completely wholly different now?
in front of the group. Now this is a
Not even different because that would be comparison to something else. It's wholly transformed, new, and look, this doesn't even look like the 2000s. This looks like the 90s or the 80s. So yeah, give people time to make a difference in their life, to get feedback and
tactic
do
that
something
helps
about it.
across the board use because yes, it is healthy to talk about what's kind of draining to you emotionally and express your feelings. However, when
Yeah, this isn't about emotions. You'll find out that they're real emotions. It's it feeling. You have the feelings, but it's not you feeling, it's it feeling.
you're in a group where it feels really safe to share your emotions or your traumas, it also provides collateral for the leader to take advantage of you later. And it also gives the leader the opportunity to not
The
just break
leader to take advantage of you later. No, no, you're getting complete with the things that stopped you in life. So you're now free, and nobody ever needs to bring that up ever again. Nobody's going to use anything against you.
down, but be the person to build you back up. So instead of giving yourself the onus and the credit for starting to heal
No, it's all about it's all about empowerment.
your trauma or heal yourself emotionally, you look towards the group or the organization or
No, they're not looking towards a group or an organization.
the guru. And that's when it becomes
It's about the ideas we'll live on, not the person.
dangerous. So how exactly was
Not dangerous at all.
an EST seminar structured? Well, once again, it's going
Again, like we're talking about something that existed in the 80s. Like they transformed their whole organization in 1991 or 1990. So talking about stuff from the 80s just doesn't, it's just like do the course now and give me a full story about how empowered you were. And then if you want to, you could talk about the misinformation or the how they transformed themselves from these things that you are shocked by from the 80s. It's like the 80s, 70s was a completely different time.
to sound so dangerously similar to Nexium's executive success programs, which were highly
Again, Nexium went to jail for 120 years. It's done. It's over with. They don't exist anymore.
controlled, highly structured, and designed to challenge participants' assumption.
No, this is the opposite of control. This is giving the control back to the people. And yeah, you want structure and scripts and conversations to follow. You don't want to be like willy-nilly if you're going to be enlightened or be happier or be more free or more peaceful
about themselves and the world. They were intense, immersive, and often emotionally taxing. So each training consisted of 2 weekend.
Again, you'll see that emotions aren't real. They're real emotions. They're just not real. They're not a true test for reality.
Sessions, typically spanning 60 hours total over 4 days. Sessions ran from early morning until late at night, often lasting between 10 and 14 hours per day.
Yeah, sorry, enlightenment doesn't come from just snapping your fingers and doing you. doing you, I mean like people show up and they're like, okay, I'm here now. Now give me the breakthrough. It's like doesn't work like that. It's we're gonna ask you questions, you're gonna have insights, and then you're gonna come up with your own answers.
Participants would be seated in rows in a
I'm not doing it for you.
large room and be forced
Can't do it for
to
you.
listen to lectures, engage in exercise,
It's no longer in a room. It's done on your computer from your own comfort of your own home.
and of course, occasionally sharing personal stories. They were also
If you want to share, nobody's forcing anybody to share anything.
required to follow very strict rules, which included no speaking unless called.
Yeah, you don't want someone talking out of turn while someone's making a point and other people are dealing with their whole lives and things that are like truly important to us. You don't want some random person that doesn't know where the course is going to take control of the conversation.
Upon no bathroom.
So, sorry, that's like a good thing that people aren't speaking out of turn. And yeah, again, it's done in the comfort of your own home now. And that whole bathroom conversation was just like, hey, you paid $915 for this. So we give you plenty of bathroom breaks and plenty of food breaks. And it's ideal that you go to the bathroom prior to us starting to have a deep conversation. Why would you pay $915 and then like just skip? Like, why would you pay for a movie and then go hang out in the bathroom?
Room breaks outside of scheduled times because they were told they needed to train their bladders and they were not allowed to eat or drink or.
Yeah, I've had teachers my entire life tell me to go to the bathroom in between classes, and you don't need to go to the bathroom during this class. Yeah, very much training your bladder.
Or take notes during.
It's not like a push thing. It's like a, hey, we have something important to go over here, and I don't want you to miss it. And
The sessions. So
that's being responsible for people.
This goes back to them not providing anything tangible when you've left the seminar. Like, why?
Yeah, you're provided with 13, 12 or 14 distinctions you can take home with you. And there's a 10-session seminar series where they do allow note taking. You are absolutely left with things. When they say they left you with nothing, that's kind of a play on words and a joke because they show you that life is empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless, that it's empty and meaningless. So you're really getting nothing out of this. But what can you do with nothing? Anything. So it's kind of a joke to say you got nothing because you did. You got a blank slate in which to just create your own life from scratch.
Why can't I take notes to look at later when I'm in my real day-to-day life trying to get through my day? And I can think back or look back upon my notes from the seminar. I'm not allowed to do that. And
because all the distinctions are on their website for free and under their syllabus. You can absolutely take notes when you leave or on a break. Notes distract people. And yeah, after the forum and the 10-session seminar series or the advanced course, you're absolutely encouraged to take notes.
Spending how much money on this? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But apparently these rules were.
Yeah, you don't. If you have to take notes and study those notes in order to get the difference that you wanted, then that wasn't a long-term fast action. You don't need to take notes type of a thing. This is literally you're doing all the work between your own thinking, free thinking, maybe a person that you're talking to in a breakout room, and then people in your real life. So because you're taking those actions in your real life, and I took from having my mom be quote unquote naggy to having me like head over heels in love with my mom. I don't need to take notes to remember that. I am like now a new freer person because I'm not thinking that my mom's trying to nag me all the time.
We're enforced to maintain focus and prevent distractions because it's like you got to stay in the present moment.
Do you know how much time I spent just telling my mom I know, and thinking she was a nag, and then now how much time I don't spend on that because I don't have that conversation with myself anymore.
And I want to talk a little bit more about sharing these personal stories because participants were encouraged to share these deeply personal experiences, often revealing vulnerability.
See, this is set up in a circle. I mean, I guess maybe in the breakout rooms, you could kind of think of that like a circle. I don't know. There's no real circles in the forum. And no one's like, you don't have to share anything.
Vulnerabilities in front of the group. And then they would be
no, they don't have to share vulnerabilities in front of the group. It's just like, what are you hearing? Who wants to share?
By seminar leaders. And it's a tactic used to challenge the participants' beliefs and defenses. So, for example, if someone
no, there's no defending in this.
shared a deeply personal story and blamed any external circumstance for their unhappiness, the leader would interrupt them and demand that they.
Yeah, well, you can see how blame isn't responsible. It is putting it on that other person and keeping you hostage to that blame. versus, hey, you don't have to go back and be with that person, but at least if you could give up your own blame, you'd be set free and have more peace of mind.
They take full responsibility. So effectively blaming the victim for whatever they were.
No, no, this is so off. It's literally just giving up resentment. You are not blaming the victim. You're not blaming the accused, but you're not blaming everybody. You're just taking full responsibility. So to say that, oh, like they're blaming the rape victim, it's like, no, no, we're setting them free.
Sad, hurt, traumatized about. And the seminar relied really heavily on
sad, hurt, or trauma. Yes, people go in sad, hurt, or traumatized about things and leave with a new sense of freedom, empowerment, enlightenment, peace of mind, freedom from anxiety, freedom from resentment and regret. Or whatever else they wanted to. Like, I created fun out of it, and like people tell me like, oh, you're so fun, and I'm like, that's so crazy because I never said the word fun. All I did was have a 2-minute conversation with you, and you got fun out. Like, I made that up 6 months ago, didn't tell you a word about it, but you got out of this conversation that I'm fun. Like, that is so magical. Like, I made it up, and now you're the one reinforcing what I made up without me even talking about it. It's just unreal.
Amplifying emotional intensity. Participants were often called.
Oh, it's real, real. It just seems unreal because I never knew that was possible when I was younger.
Called out in front of others, and this would create these moments of discomfort. But for some, it felt like a
right, because that person raised their hand and was willing to take the coaching, not calling them out. It's literally just like, hey, you raise your hand, you're here to get over that or to get free from that, and here's how to, well, questions that you could ask yourself that would get you free from that.
A breakthrough or having a massive realization. So what were some of the philosophical teachings? EST was
again, not philosophical whatsoever. It never was philosophical. You're calling it philosophical because it sounds philosophical to you, and meanwhile, it is not based in philosophy at all.
It's built on several key principles,
even though questions of philosophy are answered.
And the most notable one is
by you, not by them.
Taking personal responsibility. It's this idea very similar to law of attraction that you're responsible for your experiences.
Yeah, why would we have all this 20th century philosophy of I don't know what she just saying, but law of the lid,
regardless of external factors. So no matter what has happened to you.
Law of attraction. Yeah, why would we see that law of attraction has some level of power in it and ignore that and be like, oh, that's just stupid law of attraction BS? It's like I take just like one tiny bit out of all these books that I've read. You can put them all together. Like, even if some of the stuff you don't see is working, like maybe just like ask yourself, like, why? Why did the author write this? You know, and stay in that versus, oh, that's woo woo, it doesn't work.
To you, positive or negative, you have effectively created that experience for yourself, which is the same as, toxic positivity. And if you're not actually able to
yeah, it's nothing to do with toxic positivity or power positive thinking or anything like that whatsoever. You're just comparing that because you see people smiling and laughing and clapping or something like that. Or I don't know. You're making it seem positivity because that's the only other thing that you could think to compare it to. I don't exactly know, but this has nothing to do with positivity whatsoever. This is only reality.
Process what happened to you in a healthy way. Instead, you end up blaming yourself for horrific experiences.
Are you a therapist? I'm kind of confused as to what
that happened to you.
Are you just giving your opinion? Sounds like
the shame and the guilt that it invokes in some people can be traumatizing in and of itself.
No, you're gonna get completely free from any shame or guilt within the weekend. Meaning, like by Tuesday evening, your shame and guilt would be gone. I mean, unless you're trying to keep it to yourself and not say anything to anyone at all, not even having to be the person leading the course or someone that's taking the course with you or your friends or your family or whoever it is. Like, if you really want to just bottle that up and keep that in you, like, of course you're not going to get free from that. But if you really are committed to getting free from any shame or guilt, you will leave being completely 100% free from any shame or guilt.
Self. And another principle that EST focused on was living in the present moment. This is the idea that life is experienced in the present moment, and dwelling on the past or future limits all of your potential, which maybe that can be great. It can be really important, and it is very important to focus on the present moment. But I don't think it's fair to go so far to say that processing something that happened to you in the past or being anxious about something that could happen in the future is totally limiting your potential.
I mean, I understand how you think that, but Yeah, why would you take extra time to process that which happened in the past when you can do it in 5 days? Um,
Me, that creates that sense of like guilt and shame once again in someone. And I think that that can be really, really dangerous because you're not actually learning
maybe temporarily on the first day you might feel that guilt and shame, but the whole idea is after the fifth day you'll be completely free from any guilt and shame.
how to process or deal with those feelings. You're instead being blamed for having them in the first place. Now, another practice that they
Yeah, again, there's no blame at all. It's just taking full responsibility. There's no blame. Blame doesn't exist. It's all made up in language anyway, and there's absolutely no blame whatsoever. It's literally the opposite of blame.
preached here was breaking free from rackets. Now, what is a racket, you ask? Well, in EST terminology, it's a repetitive complaint or behavior that reinforces negative feelings and avoiding taking responsibility. So, for example, if you constantly say nobody respects me, that might be a racket that is actually justifying avoiding difficult conversations. So,
Make sure you get the dust collector that's right. Yeah, again, it's just amazing to watch people criticize things that they haven't even done. It's like just do the course and then you can be as critical as you want, but what you can find out is that you got something big out of it, so you can no longer critique it. So, but you make money off of this video, so you're not going to take it down. So, you know, it's a court of public opinion.
so once again, it's always going to be about you. And which, look, there are times where we need to take personal responsibility, obviously. And there are times where we could have probably avoided a bad or negative situation or outcome in our life if we'd made a different decision. But when it comes to some very deep extremes and traumatic events that happen in our life that are happening to us that we do not have control over,
Yeah, again, nobody's trying to say that your trauma isn't real and you weren't the one who caused that. It's none of that. It's just giving up what makes me angry about that thing so I can go ahead and not live in anger of something that happened 10 years ago.
it's inherently dangerous to blame the person experiencing that. And it's dangerous to constantly blame yourself when things don't work out the way that you hoped that they
Yeah, again, you won't leave with any blame whatsoever. You're just going to leave with empowerment, freedom, and what's next in life.
would, because there is a lot that we can't control. So to think that we can control
Yeah, we're not saying you can control it. We're just saying that you can um yeah, take actions that set your life up to be exactly the way that you wanted it to be.
every single
It's not to
happenstance
say that, things don't come up and years after the forum, I decide to choose to do business with a business partner that then rips me off. It's like, I'm not saying that everything works out perfectly all the time and you're in full control all the time, but I was in control to get away from that business partner. I was in control of getting free from any mess that I made while being with that business partner.
in her life and telling people
And this is not having anything to do with the forum whatsoever, but I read way afterwards that maybe doing business with someone that is outside of your husband, wife, spouse is not effective because whether it's even a family member, y'all have different needs for your finances. But whereas you and your spouse, if you guys are committed to each other, then generally you are essentially on because it's like, technically if I went broke, then the other person would go broke. So I wouldn't want that to happen. So I can be responsible dealing with the wife, but if it's another business partner and they want to do what they want to do with the money, well, there's no real commitment there to a future. We're not married, in any event, highly suggest breaking up with any business partners if you do have them, or both through the forum, an advanced course, or yeah, just end the relationship and find the love of your life and do business with them.
people, if this doesn't happen the way you want it to happen, it's all your fault, even if you've been essayed or
Oh, again, this is not your fault. So, essay example, you were literally just not going around blaming or saying, well, I can't find the love of my life because I was essayed, or well, men are misogynist because I was essayed, or like I'm a victim, or like people want to take advantage of me, or what. I don't know what people dealing with an essay deal with in their life. I do know that 93% of people that did deal with an essay are now completely free and are not scared living their life of another essay, and they are powerful in the face of a future essay. If someone tried to essay someone that did the forum, they would literally move the world to make sure that that essay didn't happen. Like they would, I don't know, fight back, call the police, run away. Maybe someone has been essayed after the forum. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I don't know. I would think essay would go dramatically down after the forum, both for people that are have committed the essay and people that were victims of the essay.
Or otherwise harmed in some way, you somehow attracted that to yourself, that is a dangerous, dangerous.
It's not really. I mean, I guess you could say like, "Hey, I put myself in that shady situation. I shouldn't have been messing around with those people or that environment or that illegality or whatever it is." But that's again a past-based conversation. So I would just stay focused on the present day and that I'm not going to use what happened 10 years ago or 1 year ago as a crutch to me having the life that I want.
Game. Now, also this group emphasized the idea of transformation.
It's not a group. It's a advanced course and the forum. That's I mean, if you want to do more, you can do more, but it's a company. It's not a group. It's nothing you join. There's no membership. There is a monthly thing for people that want to just continue to take courses and um inspire themselves, but it's not a group, nor do you have to do the monthly thing. Like I said, I haven't paid them a penny and haven't gone back to them in 15 years. So it's
The ultimate goal of the FT was not that incremental improvement, that consistent improvement in growth, but rather a fundamental shift in how.
and you keep talking about EST, but then Landmark Worldwide is in your thing. It's just amazing that people see that like, oh, like nobody can change or that's just the same old them. It's like not Landmark. Landmark's different. Landmark transforms themselves as a company, as people. And they hear your criticism, they got your criticisms and they address those criticisms, and those criticisms are no longer issues for anyone that's doing the forum or anyone. Yeah.
You perceive themselves and the world. And this is, I think it's funny that he calls it a process. This is a process that Erhard called getting it. Do you get it? Are you getting it?
Yeah, I mean, if someone didn't get enlightenment, they would raise their hand and say, I don't get it yet. Or they'd ask, like, okay, does this all make sense that truth and fact and uh falsehoods and right and wrong is all in the sea of opinions and none of it is exists in reality whatsoever?
And what a like vague way to talk about like
It's not vague. It's like you said, 60 hours worth of conversation. It's not vague at all.
self-improvement. However, for
It's not self-improvement, that's empowerment.
many participants, EST provided a profound sense of clarity and empowerment. These experiences were described as breakthrough moments where people felt like old beliefs had been shattered and
Yeah, why can't you listen to those people? You're like reading it in some kind of bad way that like, oh, well,
now new possibilities emerged. Some participants left the seminars with this renewed sense of purpose,
yeah, again, 93% of participants left with the new sense.
reporting that there were changes in their relationships, their careers, and their overall happiness. For some, it felt like the first time they truly felt seen, heard, and challenged
Yeah.
to confront certain aspects of themselves that they had
Yes.
perhaps previously avoided.
Correct.
However, we do need to mention
However, it was the best thing in the world, but
that the process is not without its risks. The emotional
no, there's no, well, I mean, you're told ahead of time that this is what's going to be talked about. You know what the hours are, you know the topics of conversation if you wanted to ask about that. And you don't ever have to share anything at all. There's no risk whatsoever.
intensity and confrontational style could be over.
There's a risk if you want to take anti-anxiety medicine and then we talk to you about freedom from anxiety without medicine. And then like, I mean, that would be really messed up, right? If you were on anti-anxiety medicine and I walked you through step by step how the questions that gave you the insights, that gave you the answers to be free from your own anxiety, but you happen to be on this drug that was keeping you artificially free from anxiety, yeah, that might not be the best thing in the world. It's your choice. If you're on anti-anxiety medicine, you could take it. I suggest you know, work nutritionally and find out what you can do nutritionally to lower your anxiety and focus on that stuff and wean off that with a doctor. I told my doctor, hey, like I want to get off of this ADHD medicine and I'm going to replace it with nutrition. And he said, that's a great idea. He said, what's your time frame? I said, in the next year. Um, so yeah, I mean, look, the risks are all in writing ahead of time and it's not psychological in nature. So if you're like going into it expecting psychology or I don't know, it's not.
Particularly for individuals with some intense unresolved trauma or mental health challenges. Some participants report
Yeah, literally, if they do the course honestly and openly and aren't on anti-anxiety medicine, you will get over any trauma or real big things that happen in your life because it's the story that we make up about what happened versus the actual what happened.
reported feeling worse after the seminar, describing those experiences of shame, anxiety, or even psychological distress. So what?
Yeah, maybe they voiced that stuff in the forum, but then they got complete and done and over with so they can go and live their life afterwards.
EST was transformative for many. It also faced significant criticism from mental
Okay, and that's why they completely transformed, sold off the company, revised everything they do, and renamed.
health professionals, former participants, and even the media. Now, there were some psychological
Yeah, when you get Scientology coming after you, they do coordinated campaigns to attack, and then other people believe what the Scientologists are saying about something without actually confirming it themselves.
risks with some of the methodology.
And you don't even know that they're Scientology based, or it's just someone that's following someone that's Scientology based, or someone that's legitimately concerned. You can be concerned, you can be skeptical, but like let's have a conversation about it as opposed to um making up your opinion and being stuck with your opinion when your opinion isn't based in reality.
Pod at EST. Critics argued that that confrontational style of quote unquote therapy actually resembled an unlicensed.
Yeah, it's not therapy at all, and it's not really confrontational. You are doing violence to what you already know, like the kind of violence that Gandhi was, the kind of violence that Martin Luther King was. Um, you're doing violence to what you already know to be true, so that you're not stuck with it, so that you can be free to choose that way of life that you were living in, or maybe recreate and start something new. It's your choice. You're completely free.
Form of therapy where these deep emotional wounds were exposed without the support of having a trained professional.
And these are highly trained people. They're not psychologists, but we told you ahead of time this isn't psychology.
People leading these seminars are not trained mental health
No, they're not trained mental health professionals. Um, and they'll show you that the feelings aren't real.
professionals. This led to reports of
They're real feelings, they're just not real. It's it feeling, you have the feelings.
full-on mental breakdowns with participants actually
It's it thinking, you have the thoughts. It's it believing, you have the beliefs.
seek out psychological help after attending the seminars. Participants were also often
Yeah, that's not an issue going forward. Yeah, of course. I could see how, you try something new and you get a little bit of concern and people feeling like I went to therapy. I did the forum. I went to therapy. I had just lost my job. I was like on the verge of broke. I was paying for therapy in quarters and pennies. And I realized after I paid her in quarters and pennies, maybe some dollars, whatever. And then I think I went back one more time, maybe I had a little bit more money at that point and like paid her, or maybe I paid her in pennies again. I don't remember. Um, but at some point I was like, wait a minute. I'm just telling her a bunch of my past stories and why I feel like I'm in this situation. This is all in my head. I was like, Doctor, whoever was my therapist, I'm like, have you heard of the forum? And she was like, no. I was like, I'm realizing that I'm just telling you stories and I'm good. I'm not gonna schedule another session with you. And yeah, it's the best thing I ever done. And then I think like a few months or a year or so later, that's when I did the advanced course. If I could have done the advanced course immediately, I definitely would. I don't feel like I can't change the past, so there's no like regret in there, like, oh, I regret not doing the advanced course sooner. It's just that, yeah, if I had the money then and knew what I knew now then, I would have done the advanced course immediately.
encouraged to bring friends and family to future seminars, and this created
I did the 10 session seminar series.
what some like to say a pyramid-like recruitment system.
Yeah, not pyramid at all. Pyramid would be that the person that's inviting you is making some sort of money off of you. My best friend did it, and I am so happy for him. My wife did it, so happy for her. Makes my life easier, because they're happier and they're more free from anxiety.
And the attendees were pressured to recruit others to come to these seminars, a lot like Nexium once.
Yeah, if you felt pressured, I, on behalf of them, and I don't represent them, take full responsibility for that. That wasn't the intention for you to feel pressured. It's literally like, hey, you're happier, you're more free from anxiety, you're more free from resentment and regret and and you have more peace of mind. Why would you want to hide that from anybody?
Again, and this pressure led to accusations of
It's not pressure. You don't have to do anything. It's just, why would you not want your mom and dad to be happier and more free from resentment and regret and peace of mind.
Exploitation. And that's exactly what
It's not exploitation whatsoever.
it is, exploiting vulnerable people. And look,
They're not vulnerable. They're fully empowered.
I'm not the first or only person to allege that this is a very culty organization.
Yeah, you're alleging. Exactly. Good words. It's a lot of alleging, and then they're like, why isn't there anything negative about them online? It's because when you finally just give up that maybe that what your resistance to doing it was isn't based in reality, and you take the course, which is 5 days, like, you're gonna see that it's empowering, and you're not gonna talk trash
Yeah.
about it
Well,
anymore.
the intense emotional environment, a charismatic leader,
It's not intense or emotional. That's all made up in language. They're real emotions. I guess it's real intensity to you, but those words were created by humans, and you're just prescribing what you think or what, yeah, to this. And they're not, thoughts aren't, they're real thoughts, but they're not real.
lot of rules. We have that behavior control. We have that information.
There's no behavior control. It's just like next year they made you dress in skimpy outfits. That is behavioral control. Take off your clothes. That is behavioral control. You're literally doing it from the comfort of your own home. Nobody's asking you to do anything except consider a conversation. And it has nothing to do with you behaving in a certain way. There's no behavioral control whatsoever. If you look up all the bite models, Steve Hassan, there's zero of the bite model, zero definitions of cult or anything involved in this.
Control, where you're trying to like reprogram how you see yourself and how you take.
Yeah, you're just taking Hassan and concerned about the forum and kind of like putting them together. And there's no behavioral control, there's no informational control. It's literally just questions that lead to insights.
Responsibility for your actions, and then of course the emotional and thought control. That is the bite.
Yeah, there's no emotional or thought control at all. There's literally free thought, free emotion. You'll get that it's not real, but you can be free to tell us how you are emotionally feeling, thinking, behaving. You could share that, but you are free to share that. You're free to be skeptical. We're just going to have a conversation about how we make our anxiety, and really that's just like kind of made up. And if you make it my anxiety, you turn it into like a real thing, and then it becomes like a snowball rolling down the hill. It turns into an avalanche or whatever. Um,
Bite model in its finest. And now while EST has no.
yeah, no, I would love for Steve Hassan. Rick Ross wants to keep complaining about stuff and not do the forum himself because he has a problem with the paperwork. It's like, bro, if you're really committed to getting all these people out of a cult, then you would do the forum and then get everybody out. But you're not. You just want to keep making money on the possibility that something might be cult-like. And it's like, not the forum. You could say anything you want about anything else. That's a reoccurring one person in charge, one person that's being the idol or whatever it is.
No religious doctrine. Cults don't have to be inherently religious. I mean, when we look at Nexium, they're really.
Yeah, I'm not using religion in any sense of the definition of cult whatsoever.
Wasn't a religious aspect to it. It was completely self-help driven. It was an
Again, forum is not self-help.
authoritarian structure and similar.
No, it's anti-authoritarian. There's a great video of Warner talking for like an hour about authoritarianism.
ESP has this authoritarian structure, and
I'm sorry, I can't control what other people do when they take the course and go off and do their own stuff with it. It's like 99% of the time it's done for good, and even in the case that it was done for bad, like Nexium, that guy was held accountable, and I don't think anybody died. I think people that were sexually abused and assaulted, and would love for them to do the form so they can get complete with that sexual assault and abuse, and get that Nexium isn't the forum at all, and the forum is real and pure, and Nexium try to rip somebody else off.
and an emphasis on being.
And that's not to excuse any of the abuse that happened. That stinks. And like, I'm not with Nexium, but on behalf of them, I can take full responsibility for having you be in that situation. And if that abuse or assault is with you mentally and concerning for you, and like spends like a day, a month, or an hour, a month even in your head, I'm suggesting to you that maybe that thing is maybe holding you back from finding your true love, or your the job of your dreams, or the lifestyle of your dream, whatever it is. Um, yeah, you don't need to carry around an assault with you every single where you go.
To this program, and this has raised concerns
And I'm committed to you being free from any assault or abuse.
among cult experts. So by the late 19
And strong would be a fix, but empowered that if you ever experienced assault or abuse in the future, that you'd be able to stop it before it started.
he was facing growing backlash, including lawsuits from participants and those criticisms of Werner Erhard's personal life.
Yeah, and every single lawsuit was handled with grace and with empathy, and probably most of them were dismissed because they weren't. It's just simple miscommunication. But yeah, even if a lawsuit did happen, they transformed their organization so that issue wouldn't happen again, and they learned from their lesson. So can we not like hold somebody accountable for what they did in the 70s for 2025?
Life. I mean, he faced multiple lawsuits, accusations of abuse, and there was even a 60 minutes expose that questioned his practices. So, like a lot of cults do, and sketchy bit.
Yeah, 60 Minutes, I believe, did a follow-up to that decade later and painted him in a very good light. So clearly both 60 Minutes and Landmark learned from and grew. And isn't that life?
Businesses like MLMs, EST was rebranded and then sold, and then Erhard himself.
It's not an MLM whatsoever. There's no involvement with any MLMs. You don't make any money off of inviting someone. It's owned by the company, so it's owned by multiple people. So there's no like one person at the top.
Decided to step out of the spotlight. And so here we are in the early 90s, 1991 to be exact, and Landmark Education was born. Unlike EST, Landmark claimed to be more professional and less confrontational, yet the foundation, of course, remained the same. Transformation through intense self-examination.
Okay, yeah, there's nothing wrong with transformation through and quote unquote intense self-examination. I would say it's this is listening. That's all it is. I don't see it as intense now. I could see how you might think that it's intense, um, or self-examining. It's not. It's just a conversation.
And Landmark is still operating today in over 20 countries and boasts,
yeah, again, companies that don't do well don't stay in business.
Millions of participants. Its most popular program, the Landmark Forum, is said to deliver life-changing results in just 3 days.
Or they have a bad apple that started working there that gets caught and they get, fined and jailed or whatever it is. But there's none of that going on right now. So clearly it's not a bad organization whatsoever.
It's a 3-day seminar that literally runs from morning until late at night, typically.
It's 5 days with Monday off. Monday, you go back into your real world and see what was talked about and how that applies to your life.
From 9 to 10. So 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Each day includes these long stretches of, you guessed it, lectures, group discussions, and
yeah, it's not meant to be a lecture whatsoever. They're not talking at you. Not when the person leading the course is speaking and the people taking the course are listening. When there's listening and speaking, that is a two-way conversation. When there are breakout rooms and time for you to say what you've heard and how that applies to your own life, that is not a lecture. When you have the opportunity to raise your hand and ask any question at all, that is not a lecture.
Individual exercises. Once again, breaks are limited to a few short pauses and then a meal break, with participants encouraged to stay in the room as much as possible to avoid missing key insights. So
not during a break. They're saying there's a break set up so that you don't have to leave during the middle of the conversations. So it's not take a break but stay in the room. No, it's take your break and be back before we start again. That's it. It's not take your break and be in the room at the same. Don't eat your lunch in the room if you don't want to. Like nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Forums start with participants introducing themselves and sharing why they've come. This opening exercise sets the tone. We have personal, vulnerable sharing, and it's said to be very
There's no tone set. They're literally just asking people why they did it.
emotionally charged. So from
again, you'll find that emotions aren't real. So the emotionality or psychology has nothing to do with anything at all having to do with Landmark.
the beginning, you're encouraged to be open and vulnerable and honest about your struggles, your fears, and the things you want to change in
Yeah, why would you pay $915 and not be open?
your life. One of the core concepts that's introduced
Again, you can be skeptical, just be open.
early is the idea of that racket, because a racket is that recurring complaint or pattern of behavior that keeps you stuck. So if you say often no one appreciates me, that might be a racket, and it's a way to justify why you feel stuck and avoid taking any responsibility for changing it.
Okay.
So over the 3 days, participants are guided through exercises that are meant to
right. So, but that's not what they leave you with. What they leave you with is free from that from that racket. So you're not not taking responsibility. You are taking
No
responsibility for it.
racket.
It's over.
Leave them with a new way of thinking. So
No, it's not a new way of thinking. It's just the racket is could be gone if you take the actions necessary and have the conversations necessary to make that racket disappear. Um, but you are free to think and get rid of that racket. You're not replacing it with someone. You're creating it wholly new. You're creating fun around that thing that was a complaint of yours and having that conversation with someone else. With whatever words you want to use, and with to say that I want this to be fun, but just cleaning up any messes that that racket has caused for them and for you, and wholly creating free thought going forward, not replacement. That would be a comparison.
of indoctrination, and this process
No, not indoctrination, literally free thinking.
can be very intense. Facilitators confront and challenge participants' beliefs, sometimes directly calling them out in front of the group. And this tactic, this public shame, can
Right, because that person raised their hand and said, I want to have a breakthrough in this area. Can you support me, please?
really cause
They weren't forced to share a thing.
lasting trauma and side effects and be deeply
I don't know if my wife talked the entire forum. The only thing she talked to me about was, I see why you wanted me to take it.
embarrassing for the vulnerable people who are opening up enough to share. Many participants describe moments of emotional release, like crying.
Please don't say that people are vulnerable. It's like very disempowering. Can we have it that these people are people and they can make their own choices?
Laughing or feeling that sudden breakthrough, which can be very cathartic. Talking about this cult actually makes me remember the experiences I had in the group.
Talking about this cult, you're just like assuming that it's a cult with zero evidence whatsoever.
I was like with, where people were sharing these deeply intense fears and sharing some things that were even illegal on some level or would make it hard.
Okay, if someone wants to share something that they did that was illegal, then that's on them. The forum doesn't do anything that's illegal.
To not judge them for. And I remember thinking, like, I can't not judge what this person just did because they violated another human being. But we're sitting here telling them that that behavior is okay because they're here trying to confront.
No, I'm not saying it's okay what they did. It's just saying what insights. No, it's asking the questions that give you the insights so that that thing doesn't happen anymore. It's not. Why would someone be sharing something that they did that was immoral or illegal and not want to get over that or not do that again? That's not someone that is sharing that would do. Someone that's doing something illegal or immoral or that wants to keep doing that thing would not share about it. They would just hide.
It just started feeling a little uncomfortable. And maybe we're not the people
Yeah, this is not meant to be pleasant.
who should be privy to this information. And if this person really wants to take accountability for their behavior, they need to go to a licensed therapist.
Not necessarily. That sounds like indoctrination that you're telling people to go to a licensed therapist. And this is not psychology or therapy or philosophy or anything. So,
Or psychologist, or perhaps even the person who they did the deed to. You know what I mean? And
you're like telling them to that doesn't work. If they're gonna go talk to the person that they did the deed with, they would have done that already. But if they haven't done that yet, then they're not gonna. They kind of need a little, don't need it, but kind of could use a little support on how to have that conversation versus just telling them to go have it. That's like based on what?
critics do argue that that level of emotional vulnerability can be really dangerous, like I've said before. Professionals say
Again, there's no emotions, there's no vulnerability. That is all made up. If someone is dealing with something, they are left free from that, and they get that their feelings are a construct of just passing clouds through the brain.
that sharing personal traumas in a group setting without professional therapeutic support can actually make things worse for participants and not better. Not a landmark.
Yeah, sorry, 93% of people would not be satisfied by it if it like left people off for the worse.
Will insist that the forum is not therapy and that participants are fully informed of what to expect. But this is a high pressure environment and it's hard.
It's not high pressure. You chose to be there for 3 days. You chose to have these conversations. You know what the hours are. You know the cost of it. You know,
is it truly transformative or does it cross a line into manipulation? So
no, truly transformative. There's no manipulation. Look, the people that are sharing with you that other people are manipulating are not the ones manipulating.
we're going to take a minute to
It
examine.
doesn't work like that. Why would I talk to you about manipulation if I was the one manipulating you? That doesn't make any sense. That only makes you more aware of any manipulation going on in your life. So that's only empowering.
Philosophy behind landmarks methods. Landmarks
So you can know what to smell.
teachings are built around a few core ideas, many of which come from Werner Erhard's original EST program. At the heart of Landmark's philosophy is the concept of possibility. According to Landmark, most
Would you do 20, 30, 40 hours of research for this? I mean, sorry, you're not an expert. You haven't spent 10,000 hours studying this stuff and actually doing the course. So this is all opinions.
live inside a story or a narrative they've constructed about their lives based on past experiences and beliefs. So if you grew up in a household where money was always tight, you might carry a story that says, I will never be financially successful. So Landmark will teach you that these stories are not facts. They're
Close. It's not about teaching. There's no knowledge. There's no information. It's not education. It is, yeah, it's just conversations. It's discovering. It's not information. It's you discovering on your own.
interpretation. So by recognizing them as such, you can create new possibilities for your life. And that's great. Sometimes you do need to have some kind of mindset shift. And in that situation, that example, it could explain why you have the relationship with money that you have. And it could also show you ways to change your mind about money and come up with ideas on how to make more. But when it comes to like deep-seated emotional or even physical,
It's just so amazing. You say positive, 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 but positive, positive, positive. However, it's like, why are you? If someone has a breakthrough in money and they grew up poor and are now wealthy, I mean, there's no but behind that.
trauma, I don't think you can use the same example. Now, another key idea they
Yeah, you can because it's fully customizable to the person that's doing it. So if you want to get over trauma, this is the real deal.
have is the power of language. Landmark believes that the words
Yes, everything exists in language. We wouldn't have anything without language, and we are the ones that made up the language.
you use don't just describe your reality, but they create it. Wow, it sounds so
No, that's what they show you is that most people describe their reality, and a description of reality isn't real. It's you assigning meaning to that reality.
more to law of attraction, doesn't it? And they say that by changing your language, you can reshape your experiences and even your
You don't have to change your language. They just are very specific and detailed about the way that they word things so that it causes that breaking open. It causes that new possibility.
relationships. So instead of saying I'm bad at relationships, you might instead say I am committed to creating loving and help.
Yeah, you're not replacing I'm bad at relationships with I'm committed to. You are noticing, wow, I've been telling myself that I'm bad at relationships, and that doesn't exist in the real world. And that's why I broke up with a person. And let me call them. And if they don't even pick up, that's fine. Let me just leave them a message saying that, I take responsibility for the things in the relationship that I did that weren't effective. Not to say anything about maybe that person was 99% responsible for the relationship, but when you call and you say that I take responsibility for what I did in the relationship, boom, you are free.
Connections, which right on the surface, that doesn't sound so bad. Landmark also emphasizes the idea of breakdowns and breakthroughs. A breakdown is any moment where things don't go as planned. So losing a job, experience.
Yeah, and I can, if I'm dealing with a breakdown, no, I can intentionally cause a breakdown to cause a breakthrough. It's not anything that's not good. Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Conflict or feeling stuck. And Landmark teaches these moments are not failures,
Yeah,
but instead opportunities for growth. By embracing the breakdown, you can achieve a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And these teachings resonate with many people. Even me hearing the words come out of my mouth, I'm like, yeah, that sounds
It's so amazing. People reviewing it, they're literally like having the breakthrough while they're talking about it. It's just like, give it a shot.
great. That's a good reminder. But there is also criticism. And on this channel, we always want to make sure we're thinking
Yeah, and then once you know it and have conversations based around it, you don't need reminders because it's who you are.
critically and considering all of the nuances of any belief or practice or even self-help concept. Some psychologists argue that Landmark oversimplifies very complex emotional issues and offers very surface level solutions to those.
I don't think it's yeah, it is simplifying things. Wouldn't you want things to be simple? Not easy.
Issues
Simple.
actually addressing the deeper underlying problems.
Yeah, they are. You are completely free. 93% of abuse victims would not come out completely free if it wasn't effective and didn't deal with the real issues.
Other psychologists point out that the emphasis on creating your own reality can actually be harmful, especially for
You're that would be harmful to create your own reality on top of things that aren't working. That'd be like putting sweet, delicious, sugary frosting onto a mud cake. If you cut in the cake, it's still a mud cake. So you're not creating reality on top of something bad. You are completing what didn't work for you, getting out of whatever relationship or having whatever conversation you need to empower the relationship or whatever it is.
people who have dealt with systemic challenges or trauma.
And then once you're at nothing, you are free to do anything. So that is not creating a reality on top of something else that doesn't work. It's literally completing the old and cleaning up the old and having the old be empty and blank, and then you can create whatever you want. And it's not creating your own reality in a fictitious, um, what is it called? Like made up type of a way.
So one has to ask, is Landmark empowering people to take control of their lives, or does it
Yes.
place unrealistic expectations on its participants?
No.
Well, to look at that, we have to continue looking at some of these practices very critically. One of the most persistent criticisms of Landmark is that it shares characteristics with cults. For starters, Landmark seminars create
Doesn't share one characteristic with any cult ever.
a very high pressure environment. Participants are immersed in those long days, forced to connect with other people, and forced.
Again, if someone left on a Sunday, like my friend left on a Sunday, well, I don't know how she worked it out, whether she got to retake the course for free or she paid again or whatever it is. Um, the point is that you should probably know the hours before you sign up for something. Like, why would you agree to the hours and then be like, oh, they're so long? It's like you knew what the hours were. Like, I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm just saying that we were clear. And if now doesn't work for you to do this for these hours, then take care of yourself and you're always invited to come back.
To share some of their darkest traumas and personal stories. And this can feel cathartic, but it can also create this sense of dependency on the group and its leader.
No, it's empowerment so that you leave and you are inspired. Inspiree comes from the Greek word, and it's to breathe life into. It comes from within you. It's not dependency on any group. There is no group again.
Red flag we see is emphasis on recruitment. Participants are often encouraged.
Again, no recruitment. There's no recruiting. There's no recruit. There's no any of that.
To invite friends and families to join other seminars, and critics say that this creates a pyramid-like structure where yours
It would be pyramid if I made money off of it.
isn't measured by how much you share or if you have a breakthrough, but rather in how many people you can bring into the seminar. They're like,
have you ever made a difference for someone and they were happy about it and they were like, I love you so much? I don't know. I mean, like, that is better than money. That's better than sex. That's better than anything, is having someone else say that you made me happy. And it's not making someone do something, but if I like invite someone and then they end up having like the life of their dreams and they're super happy, and I'm the one that like invited them to that because I happen to be like invited by somebody else, like this is it's just a lot of people like getting what they want in life and being happy. And it's not a recipe to get out what you want in life or prescription or a guide or a how-to or any of that whatsoever. It's just asking questions.
oh, you're doing great the more people you recruit to come to the seminar and give us more money.
No, there's nothing to do with any of that, that you're doing great. It's that like if you had 20 people in your family that were super happy, like that just makes your life happier. It makes your life more effective and more efficient or just simpler or whatever it is. I mean, do we really need to live in this like I'm right and you're wrong type of an atmosphere all the time? Or can we like start to seek to understand first and then to be understood?
Money. Oh, but you just shared a deep trauma without bringing somebody into the group? Well, you're not doing as well as
No, nobody would ever say anything close to that.
this one. You know what I mean? And then there's also the authority of the
No, I don't know what you mean. You're making that up in your head and comparing cults to this.
facilitators or quote forum leaders. Now, these individuals are
Facilitators or quote form. I mean, there's people that are like producing and assisting and making sure that words come on the screen. And then there's people that are leading the courses and they are like highly trained for years and years and years and years.
trained, but just within the Landmark Forum, not necessarily by a reputable agency or accredited university
Yeah, I mean, Harris Polls is a pretty credible third-party source that they use to answer your questions.
that promotes mental health wellness. Do you know what I mean? They're not psychologists.
Yeah, it's not about mental health. Mental health is a byproduct of doing this because people are happier.
But they hold significant influence over the group nonetheless. They're direct.
No, there's no inferring that influence is something bad is not based. It's influence is influence. If it's inspiring influence and empowering influence, then that's a good thing. If it's kill people influence, then that's probably most people would agree a not effective thing or not like a long-term effective strategy.
Confrontational style can be effective, but it also mirrors the behavior of leaders in high control groups. But of course, like all of
No, it doesn't mirror that. You're just saying this person has a leader and a cult has a leader, and therefore I think that they're the same. No.
their cults, Landmark denies these allegations. The organization argues is that participation is entirely voluntary and its methods are designed to empower, not control. They point out that participants are free to leave at any time and there's no religious doctrine or central figure demanding loyalty. But we all know that you don't have to have a religious
But
doctrine to be
can you just call Landmark and have a conversation with them as opposed to like making up your own opinions to the world?
considered a cult. And what I want to know is what is truly happening behind the scenes, because on the
So take the course and you'll find out what's happening behind the scenes, and there's no secrets and no hidden nothing.
outside, Nexium looks like a self-help group too.
And Nexium got held accountable.
I didn't fully understand how anyone could get involved in a cult until I watched the Nexium documentary, and I literally was like, I would have totally gotten into this cult because I'm someone who loves self-development and self-improvement and creating goals for myself. And I would have totally gone to a seminar and probably been hooked and might have gotten a little too deep before.
Come on, lady. If they told you to take off your clothes or come dressed up in a skimpy outfit, you're telling me that you would have just gone because you think it's about goal setting? Please, I feel like you're stronger than that. I understand people were vulnerable and got taken advantage of. And the guy said it had to do with expressing your sexuality. Whatever, dude. The guy got held accountable. The guy's going to jail. The guy's probably never getting out.
Late. I don't know if I would have gotten branded, but who knows? Indoctrination can.
And now we have an example of something that is just ridiculous. And if anyone asks you to dress skimpy or take your clothes off to be felt by your own sexuality, like just know that that's like absolutely ridiculous. And anybody asking you to do that does not know what the heck they're talking about. You could do that on your own if you want, but a group asking you to do that in a group setting, I mean, that's kind of, now we at least have the example of where the line is. Okay. The line is take your clothes off or dress skimpy. Okay. So as long as Landmark isn't asking anybody to do that, these things are like completely wholly different and unrelated whatsoever.
Really take control of your life, and it can really just shut down your intuition. So things.
I wouldn't say it's taking control. I understand how the things can be compared. It's more like cleaning up any messes and writing your book on how you want the rest of your life to be, versus control it. I'm gonna control my life. No, it's what's gonna work for me, what's gonna work for my wife, and what's gonna work for my kid, and how can we make it work for everybody?
That would normally create a red flag for you, just don't. So I guess one just has to ask, is Landmark a cult? Well, it doesn't necessarily meet all the criteria of a traditional cult.
It doesn't meet one criteria of any cult ever.
Its practices do raise questions about how far self-help should go. Landmark Education operates as a for-profit
self-help,
generating millions of dollars annually.
Yeah, if it's generating a lot of money and they're not like in and out of court all the time and you can't find any lawsuits since the 80s or 2000 whatever, and there's no bubble bursting where like they start making a lot of money and then all of a sudden they're crashing. It's like they're continuously $100 million a year, like with very little complaints and 100,000 views on the actual Landmark videos, and then like
through these seminars. The Landmark Forum costs between $600 and $700 for the initial 3-day program, and after completing the forum,
it is $915, and there's ways to get a $200 deduction in that, so it'd be $715.
Participants are encouraged to enroll in additional courses such as the advanced course or the.
Yeah, there's a lot of courses on everything from love and sensuality and money and health. I don't know if they have anything on health. I don't think they do. But they have a lot of different courses, and you could take them if you wanted to, but you don't have to whatsoever. The advanced course and the forum are highly suggested because there's just things in that set you free. Like I just can't tell you how many ways that other people are stopped by certain things and they believe certain things, and then I tell them the alternative to that or tell them what to look up to find that what I'm saying is accurate and in reality, and then they just disavow it because they're more comfortable doing what people have told them to do for the last 40 years of their life and don't want to take on something from some guy that isn't licensed, which is not based in reality whatsoever, because I don't get any of my information from me. I get it from licensed doctors, as an example, or from people that have done things and been successful at those things. And then I've done what they've done and then been successful as well. And then I share other people, oh, this is what I did for success. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's good that worked for you. And then they just go on living their life the way that they were and keep having the same challenges or problems that they've had all along.
Self-expression and leadership program. And these courses can cost thousands of dollars.
Okay, so the advanced course and the forum are 915 each, so that would be 1830 at a maximum, but there's discounts there. And then yeah, I mean, you look at Tony Robbins, you look at any other quote unquote self-help, and again, Limb Forum is not self-help, but if you look at any other competitors, you will see that they are from what I can tell, more highly priced and don't cause permanent enlightenment.
The company relies heavily on word of mouth marketing. Participants are often asked to invite others to join, and this creates a
Yeah, they don't want to advertise because it's a conversation. Like, how can I advertise? Get what you want out of life. It's like it's way more powerful to ask somebody what they want out of life. And also, if like they're advertising, doesn't that kind of make it more of an issue than just word of mouth? Like, isn't word of mouth a little bit more legitimate than someone that needs to advertise? Or someone that needs to pay money to influence society or something. It's just, I don't know. It seems like word of mouth has more integrity than an advertisement does. And again, it's customized to everybody, so you can't really advertise. Everybody gets what they want. Like that's just too far-fetched sounding.
any new stream of new customers. So some critics argue that this creates a system where participants feel almost obligated to recruit other people, even if they're unsure about their own experience. And like Nexium, Landmark.
Yeah, there's no obligation whatsoever. And having done it 19 years ago and comparing myself, well, like comparing and despairing is not effective and doesn't do anything. But I call up my friends that haven't done the forum, and I have, and I mean, they can't even answer whether they're happy or not. They want to justify their happiness based on their money or their current relationship.
Programs for businesses and markets itself as a leader in corporate training. Companies like
Yeah, it's incredible for corporate training. Read Capitalism in Society or see our other videos. Putting integrity into finance is purely a positive phenomenon and the media industry. So if we just put a little more integrity into the finance industry and the media industry, a lot of other industries would explode in their effectiveness.
NASA and Reebok have reportedly used Landmark.
Yeah, NASA and Reebok used the Vanto Group, which is their corporate side of things, and again, NASA and Reebok, I mean, pretty good names, and that's only like two of them. Then there's like 30 different companies that they've worked with, at least. And then everyone that owns a business that has done the form of stuff.
Is focus on communication, leadership, and even teamwork. So this corporate connection helps Landmark maintain a professional image, even.
No, they just needed a way to be able to handle large groups of people. Because there's only like 250 people or 100 people or 70 people in each forum. And for a 2,000 person organization, that's not really going to be effective. People can do the forum if they want a personal breakthrough in their own life, but Reebok specifically hired them, NASA specifically hired them to be more effective and efficient in their work, and they achieved those results.
As individual participants continue to raise concerns about its practices. Over the years, Landmark has faced numerous controversies. Some participants have reported.
Yeah, the only people that are starting controversies and saying things that might not be positive about them are people that haven't done the course or people that are into Scientology and want to coordinate action against them, or people that have done it and enjoy their life and have a great life and comparatively to their friends have a wonderful life and want to pit complaints against them and yet they're happy. It's like your friends are not happy, you're happy, and you want to complain about the thing that made you happy. It's like, really? You wouldn't be happy if you didn't have that thing. So to complain about that thing is, I mean, that's just the blame shame game.
Experiencing psychological distress during or after the forum. And while Landmark insists that its programs are not therapy, the emotionally charged environment can feel therapeutic. And for some, that's a problem. Experts continue to warn that unlicensed group-based therapy can have unintended.
I'm sorry, if 93% of people have satisfaction, then it's not a problem. If 60% of people had satisfaction and 40% of people were saying that it's a problem, then that would be a completely different scenario. But it's not nowhere close. 93% is, and guaranteed those 7% that didn't say satisfaction after the year, they are happier than their friends.
Consequences. Participants may open up about traumatic experiences without the proper support to process them. This can lead to feelings of shame, anxiety.
No, you're free from shame and anxiety.
Or even a full-blown mental health crisis. Landmark has also been
Yeah, show me the person that was in a full blown, and like you comment back to these people that were quote unquote in a full blown mental health crisis, and I'm like, have you done the advanced course of the forum? And they either don't respond or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I don't know how accurate this like random person online is that I can't really see who they are, and their account was only created a few years ago, and they don't have any posts, and there's an avatar for their picture, and
Size for its handling of complaints. Former participants have described feeling.
and then you even get people like doing an interview about their abuse or emotionally whatever. And it's like just talking about emotional abuse isn't emotional abuse. If you're going to talk about emotional abuse, say, I said this and they said this and I said this and they said this. And there was the abuse. But none of them can do that. They keep saying, well, we'll get into that later or we'll get into that conversation. It's just like, that's not, you're talking about something. And sorry, that's not based in reality. That's your opinion on what you thought. And yet you are happier than your friends are. So it's just
Dismissed or even
wild.
blamed when they voice their concerns. But Landmark maintains that
You can voice any concern at any time, and yeah, like I said, be as skeptical as you want. They just ask that you be open, and yeah, there's no control. It's literally you leave more free thinking than when you came in, and that's about it.
all participants are informed about the program's intensity and that personal responsibility is a key component of the process. So basically, they're like, well, if you felt traumatized by our seminar, you need to take personal responsibility.
Yeah, because they're going over with you that traumatized is a collapse of what happened. What happened was I said X and they said Y, and what you made it mean is trauma. So if we're going over this in day one, and then by day three, we're like, hey, you're enlightened, and there's still time to be able to ask questions and say, I don't get it, I don't understand what you're talking about.
For the trauma that you got from our seminar.
So it's not, they're literally showing you that trauma is like, we called this a pen. This wasn't a pen. It's not a pen in Spanish. It's boligrafo or lapicero. So language is all made up. And for you to assign trauma to and not tell me the he said she said, if you want to claim trauma, that's fine, but tell me what the he said she said so I can say yes, that's trauma, or no, I'm sorry. That's what you meant by that? No, we're just saying that if you hold on to the word trauma, that is holding you back in life. And why would you do that to yourself? Just understand that the trauma was created out of you having that experience of something that happened, and you then assigned it to trauma. And by the way, there's nobody online talking about, they are talking about trauma, but then they don't tell you what exactly happened.
Do you see how it's just like a constant loop of blaming the
They're like, we had to do this and they made us do that. It's like, no, no, no. They left you with free choice and you chose to do that.
other people? It's so glaringly obvious from the outside that
And look, I understand, I can empathize with you. I can understand how someone would feel a certain way about something. And let's go over the he said, she said, because I'm telling you, it's not based in reality. What's based in reality is a he said, she said, or an action. That's it. None of these thoughts, feelings, emotions have any bearing. They're going on in your head and your head alone. They're real to you, but they're not real to someone across the street from you.
also see how a participant might end up just shaming and blaming themselves. And
No, that doesn't happen at all. We literally teach you to be free from shame and blame. And I say we teach, it's not me at all. I'm not involved in them. And it's not teaching, it's personal discovery.
thinking that once again, it's just their fault, their reaction to something that's traumatized.
No, it's nothing. It's freedom from fault. It's taking responsibility. And just because you're taking responsibility for something doesn't mean anybody's blaming or faulting anybody at all. It's just, how can I be responsible for this? How can I make sure to not carry this around with me, to carry around resentment and regret? And if you deal with any resentment and regret in your life, it's there. And what would life be like if that wasn't
For them
there?
or triggering for them is their fault. And I just don't believe that that's
No, it's not. It's shared ahead of time that it may be dismaying, or maybe you have to be up on the edge of your seat. And maybe you have an experience of being triggered, but it's not like, oh, that's your fault that you're triggered and it's not our fault. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever.
fair. So these controversies, they do highlight the fine line Landmark walks between self-help and self.
That's not a fine line. They never claim to be self-help.
Participants
They actually tell you that people don't need help and self-help's made up.
shared their experiences.
It's like self-help is like not empowerment.
One former participant, a 34-year-old woman, shared that during the seminar, she was encouraged to recount a childhood experience of parental neglect in front of the entire group.
Yeah, it's like one person that said, like, where is this person? Is this person even real? Have you responded back to that person? Have you done the full 5 days? Have you asked that person where they took the forum? And it turns out that they didn't even do it at all. Okay. And if that 34-year-old person is real and they really did, I don't know, they chose to raise their hand and talk about it. Nobody forced
The
them
forum
to.
leader pressed her to take responsibility for.
Yeah, take responsibility. It's not blame or saying that who cares? It's not fault. It's not blame. It's taking responsibility. They're not the same thing.
Story she created about the event, framing it as
Yeah. Yeah. When you
something that she had chosen to believe. And she
when you take what happened and then collapse it with how it made you feel, that is disempowering. That leaves you in a that feeling. And why would you want to be in that feeling if it makes you feel uncomfortable?
was like, this totally invalidates my experience. She said, quote, I felt like they were telling me my feelings weren't real. Afterward,
Yeah, yeah. In the advanced course, you will get that the feelings aren't real. They're real feelings, they're just not real.
I couldn't stop replaying what happened in my head. It didn't help me move on. It made me feel even more stuck, unquote.
Mm, maybe she said that like while she was in the course. I bet you on Sunday or Tuesday evening that she didn't feel like that, or 2 or 3 years later she didn't feel like that. Guarantee that that lady is happier than anyone that dealt with the exact same situation that she dealt with.
In the weeks following the forum, she experienced heightened anxiety and sought professional therapy to try to process what had happened. Another story came from a man in his
Yeah, not sure when that happened, but we literally have a whole, well, not we, but there's a whole section on freedom from anxiety. So if someone is feeling anxiety afterwards, I don't know. It doesn't sound like she was doing the 10 session seminar series, which is included in the cost of the forum. So
20s who'd been struggling with depression.
and you can ask questions and say, hey, I feel like I have more anxiety because of this. And that person would have a breakthrough within that conversation because they're raising their hand and being straight about like, look, I feel like I'm having more anxiety. And then, it's going back to that conversation of freedom from anxiety, or that we collapse things that happen versus how we feel about what happened, or how right and wrong and good and bad are all made up in words and all seeds of opinions and have nothing to do with reality.
She attended the forum on the recommendation of a friend and described feeling overwhelmed by the fast-paced schedule and emotionally intense exercises.
Yeah, again, overwhelmed is a made up in language. It's a real overwhelm to you, but it's not based in anything. They're patient and going over things.
After a heated exchange with the forum leader, he broke down in tears and felt unable to continue. He said, quote,
Yeah, if you didn't do the full weekend, then I could see how that would not work for you because you didn't do the full weekend. And why are you getting heated with them? Like they're not getting heated with you. They're just saying stuff that is a little bit violent to what you think you already know.
quote, I thought it was supposed to help me feel better, but it felt like I was being attacked.
It's not supposed to make you feel better. Again, it's not about feelings. It's freedom from anxiety. And yeah, I am a lot more happier being free from anxiety versus being bogged down by anxiety.
He told me I was resisting the process and needed to push through, but I just
Yeah, if you're gonna resist and fight, then why would something work for you? Like, why are you even here if you're just gonna fight everything we have to say about it? Just take it on, put it on like a pair of pants. You can take it off later, like put your own, the way that you're right and your way of thinking and your way of dealing with things. Just put that on the shelf for the moment. You can take it back when you leave if you wanted to. But let's have a conversation about being free and empowered and stay the full 5 days. Don't leave early because of course it's not going to work.
felt unquote. He left the seminar early and later described feeling
There you go. Of course, if you're going to leave the seminar early, that's what you get.
Failing to complete it.
Yeah, it's 5 days. 5 days for the rest of your life.
Mental health professionals have consistently expressed concerns about the potential risks of landmarks,
Yeah, because it's messing with their bottom line. They follow the money.
particularly for individuals with pre-existing emotional vulnerabilities or unresolved trauma. Dr. Margaret,
Those people with pre-existing vulnerabilities and trauma, as long as they're doing the course honestly and openly, then they will be free from that and never have to deal with that stuff ever again in their entire life. Mm-mm-mm.
of intent group dynamics in self-help programs specifically. She said, quote, when people are put in emotionally charged situations without proper support, it can lead to destabilization. It's especially risky for individuals with trauma histories, as the environment can trigger unresolved issues.
All the support in the world. You have the support of the other 250, 75 people that are taking the course with you. You have the support of the forum leader. You have the support of the 10 session seminar series. You can call them anytime.
Without offering a safe way to process them, unquote. Other psychologists
They're very safe ways to process this
have
stuff.
noted that the authoritarian style of forum leaders can
Again, check out the video of Warner talking about authoritarianism and how they designed the course to be the opposite of that.
exacerbate feelings of shame or inadequacy in participants who feel like they're already struggling. Landmark's emphasis
Yep, freedom from shame.
on personal responsibility, while maybe empowering for some, can feel invalidating or dismissive.
I'm sorry, 93%, you can't really argue with that. And again, those 7% guarantee they live a happier life after.
Those grappling with external factors beyond their control. And since it's not a therapeutic program and none of its leaders are mental health professionals, it can just be very, very dangerous. They're not trained to recognize signs of mental health
Not dangerous whatsoever.
crises or provide appropriate interventions. And this can lead to situations where participants are pushed beyond their limits without any safeguards in place. So, is Landmark
Pushed beyond their limits? Like, you're using descriptive words. Do you see that? That pushing beyond their, like, what does that exactly mean? That I said that it feels and you have the feelings? It thinks and you have the thoughts?
a self-help revolution or a manipulative organization?
It's just a conversation. I'm telling you, the people teaching you about manipulation are not manipulating.
Truth might lie somewhere in the middle. For some people, Landmark provides valuable tools for personal growth.
No, it doesn't go somewhere in the middle. 93% effectiveness rate is not somewhere in the middle.
But for others, its methods are invasive and its motives are very questionable.
And you chose to be in the course, and you could just listen the entire time if you want. You don't have to speak at all.
In my personal opinion, I would avoid Landmark at all costs.
And not manipulation at all. Yep. And great that you're stating it is in your opinion, and opinions are not based in reality. It's that's going on in your head and the things that you've read from sources that you can't even really quote or see a live interview of. I mean, not like live, like recorded live. But the point is that there's no he said, she said. There's no I was asked to do this and I said no, and then they made me do it anyway. And what does made me do have to do with it? Like, what if I said yes, then it's not really being made to do it. It's I agreed to it. And I don't have really a right to get upset if I all of a sudden agree to it and now don't want to do it. It's like, just fill your agreements. Like, you don't have to do anything forever at all. Just fill what you promised, and then you can go on living your life completely free. But if you want to break your promise and not clean up the mess afterwards and not be responsible for what you promised and what you broke about that promise, then that's gonna be hard for you. That's like the boy who cried wolf. He just keeps lying over and over again, and it doesn't really buy
But if you
anything.
do feel like you need some kind of intervention in your own life, seek out a professional mental health individual, someone who has the training and will be able to
Yeah, and look, if that professional health mental health professional is causing you real breakthroughs and real financial breakthroughs or relationship breakthroughs or happiness breakthroughs or peace of mind breakthroughs or freedom from resentment and regret breakthroughs, then that's great. I just don't know any therapy that does that. And of course, it would harm a therapist's bottom line. And if you are a therapist watching this, I highly suggest that you do the forum and then see how you can do something that would make you even more money. I don't know. There's a way that any therapist could increase their income and not continue to have the well, I need you as a patient to come back to me in order to deal with this traumatic issue that you had. I mean, that's a cult, right? You have to go back to the same therapist, right? That's literally a cult versus like something that's going to be long term and effective and last the rest of your life, and you don't need to
give
take
you valuable
notes.
tools that you can use on a day-to-day basis to help you. I was very resistant for a really long time to talk to a therapist or to get any kind of diagnosis. I was worried that it would mean that I had a problem.
You were resistant about doing therapy, and you're also resistant about learning, discovering more about the forum from Landmark as opposed to your random research. I'm not saying it's random. I don't know. I'm just saying you probably didn't put 10,000 hours into it. So I wouldn't call you some sort of expert on this situation. And your concerns are valid, and I appreciate your concerns. And I'm glad you voiced your concerns so that I can make this video addressing your concerns.
That I wasn't quote unquote normal or that something was wrong with me because I felt like I needed.
Yeah, they literally tell you on the second day, if not the first, second day, Genesis of Identity, that there is nothing wrong. And that if you think there's something wrong, that's your 6 or 9-year-old self telling yourself that something must be wrong. And it blocks us from being fully open to how we can make things workable versus thinking that someone's wrong and I have to fix it. And
someone to give me insight in a non-biased way. And that's really how
yeah, the forum is in is no, not no. The forum is not giving you insight. If you're given insights, that is not free thinking. The forum is asking questions which give you your own insights, meaning that you have some insights that are very different from the person even well, not sitting next to you because it's done online now, but the person online as well that's taking the course. They are having completely separate insights and epiphanies or whatever, and coming up with their own actions and answers for their own insights, which is purely free thinking.
Look at therapy right now, especially talk therapy. It's really good and it helps you take more accountability, ironically.
See, now you're praising therapy and calling therapy good. That's just wild.
More personal
You must be a therapist. I don't know.
responsibility when you can share with a licensed therapist a situation you're dealing with or how you're feeling about something, and they can give you an unbiased response. Sometimes it's been incredibly validating.
I would say that one person talking to you might be extremely biased. And how do you know that it's not biased? There's three people in any conversation. There's you, there's them, or is it four people? There's you to them. There you go. Relationship is two people. So you to them, you to you, and them to them. So if your therapist is dealing with their own issues in life, I don't think that's very free thinking or objective at all. I think that's you trusting this person's advice, and I wouldn't take advice from anybody.
Cool. I have been having a totally
Like, don't take my advice for anything. Don't believe me. I'm not saying any of this is true.
reasonable reaction to this.
I'm just saying I did it and it's not a cult and I don't pay them any money and I don't represent them and they're just the best thing I've ever done and extremely effective and has the statistics to back that up.
But other times it's helped me reflect and recognize, oh, I'm operating from a place of being triggered, or I'm operating from a place of being anxious or stressed, and I don't want to take that stress out on my loved ones.
How much have you paid your therapist?
And I avoided getting any diagnosis for such a long time. And then I got a diagnosis and I started taking medication for my anxiety. And I was like, I feel like the last decade of my life.
Oh, oh, this video just took a whole turn. Yeah, the what is it? DSM-5, they add new disorders and diseases every few years. Um, and yeah, how much have you spent on? Okay, so now we know there's a therapist, seems like there's a psychiatrist, psychologist, and then you're also paying money for medicine, and you're also unnaturally um treating anxiety with a pill that who knows what those side effects are. I guarantee you there are side effects on there if you look up the medication you're taking and what are the side effects of this. And do you really want to deal with those side effects at 90 years old? I don't even think you would live to 90 years old with those type of side effects. Um, and if there was a way for you to be off that drug and be free from anxiety and love yourself and not be paying month after month, which seems way more like a cult. Seems like you're in a psychiatrist, psychologist, medicine cult. But it's just been done for centuries, so we justify it by saying, oh, well, it's professional help.
Life would have been so much better for me if I had just let myself go get that diagnosis. It's okay if you need a little.
Yeah, okay. I get it. I get it. Life is better for you. Great. You got the diagnosis. Great. And now I'm asking you to consider that there might be other ways, other options. Love to see you at 90. No, you're at some point going to see that, you know, you could be open-minded to this and know that they're going to give you freedom from anxiety. And if you're taking the medication, I mean, read the paperwork yourself and decide for yourself whether you want to do it or not. But you will get freedom from anxiety. So if you're taking medicine that's making you anti-anxious, like that is not in congruence with what you want out of life. If you truly want freedom from anxiety, you would truly replace nutrition with that anxiety medication long enough such that you can get freedom from anxiety based on the conversations had in the forum, which is only 5 days, which is like the fastest anybody has ever been free from anxiety ever in the history of the world. In any event, if I can't unpause this in a second, y'all get the idea.
Help sometimes. It's okay if you have to take a little medication every day to feel better. So why torture yourself and spend
I mean, yeah, if that's your choice. You know, but I would just be very
so much money on something that isn't tested and could actually cause more harm than good potentially. instead of just finding a therapist that can work with you and potentially find a psychologist who can diagnose you and make your life better. I think it's twofold. It's important to take accountability and personal responsibility, but it's also important to take care of ourselves. And I believe
Um, yeah, better is a comparison from your life prior to taking the medication and your life after taking the medication. So that is a comparison. And if I want to compare myself to someone that has more money than me, then I will not be happy because I'm saying, "Oh, I'm not good, not as good as them yet," or I'm comparing myself to someone that's in a loving relationship with myself. It's just not, it's setting myself up for failure if I want to compare or say my life is better now. So I'm not saying that the Landmark Reform will make your life better because that would be a comparison to your life prior. Um,
a big part of self-help and self-care and self-love is being able to admit to yourself, yeah, I need a little extra help.
I trust you see this video and you see that telling yourself that you need extra help. Not going to tell you that's wrong. I don't think you need that. I don't think anybody needs anything except for food, water, community, housing. That's about it.
Whether that's in the form of leaning on a friend or family member or medication.
Yeah, and if that friend or family member has something that you could be free from anxiety and you didn't have to take that medication, like, isn't that ultimately what you want? Do you really want to be taking a pill for the rest of your life? Like, you can't be over 35. You don't look like you're over 35. You really want to take anti-anxiety medicine when I'm telling you that there's freedom from anxiety in a 5-day course, um, for the rest of your life? I took it at 22, 5 days, and then I get to live another 99 years being free from anxiety and being happy. I don't know. I'm just telling you that these side effects would stop you from living to 90. I don't know anybody that's taking anti-anxiety medicine that's 90 years old. They're all dead at 75 or 80.
I see people shame themselves for having a hard time. So would I encourage anyone to seek out Landmark or attend a seminar? Absolutely not. I believe it could do more harm than
Again, just so wild. If you saw the videos, I've already said that, but if you haven't, you can't review a restaurant without going to the restaurant. You can't review a book without reading the book. You can't review a movie without with leaving the movie a half hour early. Like, I'm sorry. Just asking you to be open-minded. Nothing bad gonna happen.
good for you. And I would be very curious to see what the quote
If you want to fight it the whole time, then it's not gonna work.
unquote inner circle, inner workings of this organization might look like.
That doesn't mean you can't be skeptical. You can be as skeptical as you want. Just ask you be open.
It just operates so eerily similar to Nexium that
Nexium is gone. Landmark's a 34-year-old company. How old was Nexium? Nexium could not have been over 10 years old.
you feel like in 5 or 10 years, I would not be surprised if we heard about something atrocious.
If in 5 or 10 years we'd find out about something atrocious, it would have happened like 20 years ago.
But that's just speculation and opinion.
Speculation opinion. Thank you for acknowledging that this whole video is speculation and opinion.
I'm curious what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you
Highly disagree, but love you to death. And yeah, I wish the best for you. And I'm sure that if you truly wanted to be free from anxiety, and wanted to see how you could be happier, healthier, wealthier, wiser, free from anxiety, free from resentment and regret, that you could have all of that in one weekend. Does that make everything in life go perfect? In my sense, yes, because even if I'm in the worst situation ever, it is perfect that I'm in that situation because of who I have to be to get out of it, of seeing what got me in that situation in the beginning so that I don't repeat it. There's so many things. Okay, love you. Peace. Have a great day.